Hey, my name is Danny Weston, and I'm 25 years old. I am currently a certified medical assistant. I went to Johnson Community College for 2 years, got my associate's degree in applied science. I went through one or two jobs before I actually found the job that I really wanted to stick with until I wanted to continue to further my career. As I went through looking for various jobs, I started out in Clayton. I live in Smithfield. Um, when I went looking for jobs after I graduated, it just didn't seem like the job, you know, field was really open at the time. I applied everywhere. I was asking left and right if anybody knew of any openings for any medical assistants. And I started in Clayton at a family practice. I, got a good start. I was making, I'd say, decent money for a new graduate with no experience. Only experience I had was when I did my clinical rotation at an urgent care. And I can at least say, working in an urgent care setting, you pretty much see a little bit of it all, sort of like when you're working in an ER. You see a little bit of everything. I was seeing anything from somebody needing a flu shot to minor surgery, somebody needing a drug test, stuff like that. So I sort of had a background from education with the program to, basic patient skills, communication skills. So when I started in Clayton, I was, like I said, working for a family practice. I was sort of new, sort of nervous, but I've always had that patient connection because I was a CNA for 5 years before I went into the medical assisting program. So I already had that patient connection and basically knew, how to communicate with patients, find out what they need. And as I went through my career in the beginning, I found out, that I really enjoyed, speaking with patients and helping them get better. It's mainly the patient connection that I really enjoy, seeing the satisfaction that I get from patients at the end of the day. One thing that made me want to go into medical assistant, or really the medical field, was in the beginning, I really was wanting to become a teacher. And then as I got into high school, they had a lot of healthcare related classes with health science and CNA and, medical terminology, all types of things. And as I started taking one class, I said, well, this is something interesting. This is something I really, want to, go further into. And as I took one class, I took two, took three, until I was maxed out of healthcare classes in high school. And the last class I was able to take was Nurses Aid 1. And that class was very hard to get into. They only had a select few, which was 10 per semester. So I was lucky enough to get into that. Went and done my clinical at a nursing home in Smithfield. Really liked that. And, as I graduated, I also graduated with a high school diploma. I graduated with my eligibility to take the state board exam for Nurses Aid 1. So after I graduated, about a month later, I had, got all my studies up, went and took the state board. And first time I passed, thank God. I know I was nervous as nervous can be, but I passed. I went on to work as a nursing assistant for a year. And while I was working as a nursing assistant, I was, getting my prereqs. I was getting everything I needed done for completion of going into the medical assisting program. So that's how I started in the program, or that's how I started, in the medical field, a little background on that. And then as far as facts about my career, every day when I go in, I, get my computer out, get all my patient documents out for that day. And the first patient I get, say it's John Smith, I will go to a room, get everything set up for what that patient needs. I go call the patient back, get their weight, take them to the room, and I go over, basically, hey, my name is Danny. I'm your medical assistant today. I see you're here for your blood pressure checkup. You hadn't had that checked in the last 6 months, so we need to go ahead and get that checked. I will go over a couple of basic questions, a little bit of review of their medical chart, make sure everything still sounds good. I will, if they're due for any lab tests, I'll go ahead and order that. I will go through their medication bottles, make sure everything's still correct, make sure their pharmacy's still correct. And if they're due for any refills, I will go ahead and fill those orders. And so the provider can see that, hey, these patients need refills. I need to go over these medicines with this patient and get these medicines sent to their pharmacy. And as I get that done, I go ahead and check their vitals, see if there's anything else I can do for them, and make sure they're due for or up to date on all their vaccines, and then go and let the provider know that, hey, the patient's ready to be seen. And that's just one example of what I do with patient care as a medical assistant. And then finally, I'd have to say family and friends are really what helps me through my career and what helped me get to my career. And they are really my backbone, my support system. If it wasn't for family and friends, I really feel like I could have got through healthcare, like with my schooling and my degree and my continuing education. But if it wasn't for them, being there as a support system, being there for me to talk about, say, just at the end of the day, just saying, hey, let me tell you about my day, and sort of, unwind, talk to them. And, they've also helped me, with schooling, study groups, basically being there as, like I said, my backbone and my rock to lean on. And that's basically my little setup of, my introduction of how I became how I got into healthcare, what made me want to go into healthcare, my daily routine, sort of, and then, how family and friends sort of, play into the effect of my career. And I still am currently going to school. As you can tell, I'm taking this class. So I'm currently going into to get my Bachelor's of Science in Healthcare Management, so I can one day manage a practice or even work in HR. And I'm just going to end it here. And I thank y'all for watching and, learn a little bit about me and my background. And if you have any questions, just send me a comment. Thanks.